Well, thank you very much. As you know, this was Divisional weekend in the NFL. 18 began the weekend with a chance to get a Super Bowl 50 for 4 of those teams. It ends a little bit early. Hi, everybody. I'm Tamir Moore with your recap of the Divisional weekend. Hope you had a good day. Of course, these games have all been decided now. We know who's going to the conference championship games. But first, for those of you who did not watch these games, don't know what's going on, here's how we got here. It began yesterday in Foxborough, Massachusetts. The Kansas City Chiefs, the number 5 seed, one of the 2 AFC wildcards, went into Gillette Stadium facing Tom Brady and the number 2 seed, the AFC East winners, the New England Patriots. The Patriots lost their final 2 games of the season, one against the New York Jets in overtime, and then lost against Miami as well. Brady was knocked down a bit. But the Patriots, they absolutely rolled because Rob Gronkowski was on a game. Julian Edelman came back. He has not played in 2 months. The Patriots get everybody back. And Kansas City, unfortunately, their performance yesterday was very disappointing. Coming into the game with high expectations. The Chiefs began 1-5. Kansas City was the first team in NFL history to start 1-5 and then make the playoffs. And unfortunately, yesterday New England was a huge embarrassment. Rob Gronkowski caught 2 touchdowns yesterday. Also, Tom Brady was accurate forward just like he always is. But Kansas City problem, they turned the ball over. And I think that cost them. But Sharkendis West had a decent day yesterday as well. Also, Danny Amendola got into the action as well. And the Patriots, they are back. And they're dangerous. As we said, 12 of the last 13 Super Bowls right now have either featured Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, or Ben Roethlisberger. Joe Flacco, obviously the one that is not any of those 3. You understand New England is a standard of excellence in the NFL today. Tom Brady been there, done that. New England wasn't scared of yesterday. They beat the Chiefs 27-20. Considering that the Chiefs, they could have tied the game late in the game, but they didn't use the clock management rightly. They did not use timeouts when they needed to. When you think about it. And Cairo Santos kicked a couple field goals, but it's not enough. The Patriots win 27-20, and they are the first team to move on to the AFC Championship game. Of course, they'll be playing the winner of Pittsburgh and Denver. Of course, last night was the wild game between Green Bay and Arizona. What can you say about that? The Cardinals taking on the Green Bay Packers, the number 5 taking on number 2. The champions of the NFC West, the Cardinals beginning their postseason. So did the Patriots yesterday. What can you say? This was a crazy, crazy game. And of course, I don't have a lot to say about this game because I didn't watch this entire game, but I did watch the ending of this game. Carson Palmer, 37 years old, I want to say. He has not won a playoff game in his NFL career. 157 games, but had a playoff win. That came to the end last night. And Aaron Rodgers with another Hail Mary again. Remember Richard Rodgers in Detroit last month on a Thursday night catching that pass. Rodgers just aired it out high enough somebody could get it, and Richard Rodgers was the hero. And the Lions won 3 games in a row at that time, but Detroit, of course, fell apart late. The Lions didn't finish 7-2. Green Bay not only won the game, but that pretty much saved their season. Green Bay would have lost that game. Green Bay would have been out the playoff for good. And Atlanta or probably a little Tampa Bay would have gotten them. Green Bay would have lost that game. But we all know Green Bay lost the last 2 games of the season to Arizona and Minnesota. And Aaron Rodgers throwing this Hail Mary this time to Jeff Janis, someone you've not heard about, because think about the injuries that they have suffered, right? Randall Cobb suffered a lung injury last night. Also, Devontae Adams did not even start the game. Demetrius Randall was hurt. Christian Williams was hurt. Green Bay was also looking for balance. They had to go to Jay Jones, Jared Evergaris. They had to use whatever they had left. And, of course, Aaron Rodgers was not protected at times. And it seemed like Green Bay were going to win in advance. But overtime, the Cardinals could have ended the game, and Green Bay got another chance, and Aaron Rodgers threw the end zone, and Jeff Janis came down with it. And then in overtime, it was the Larry Fitzgerald show. 12th-year man out of Pittsburgh. Larry Fitzgerald's last couple years, it's not been up to his standard, but this year have been Fitzgerald breaking out party. And Larry Fitzgerald had a 75-yard start overtime. Casey Hayward saved the touchdown. And on 2 plays later, Larry Fitzgerald win the game for him, 26-20. Bruce Arians was absolutely pleased. Larry Fitzgerald wanted to make the crowd happy, and fans got what they needed to see from that man right on the cameras last night. And then, that was a crazy game, Green Bay and Arizona. That game we remember for years to come. Meanwhile, in the game today, 6-1, we begin with the NFC game between Seattle and Carolina. The Panthers are, of course, the number 1 seed, 15-1, losing 1 to Atlanta. While the Seahawks are 10-6. Seattle red hot to end the regular season. Seahawks last week against Minnesota won temperature below 0, 10-9. Of course, Blair Walsh missed the field goal. The Seahawks and the Panthers. What a crazy game this turned out to be. In the first half, Seattle scored none. The Panthers led 31-0. It began when Jonathan Stewart had a 75-yard run or somewhere like that to start the game. Remember, Stewart been out the last 3 weeks because of a foot issue. Also, Tenkin Jr. was questionable heading into today's game. He played, and he had a minimal role, if you will. And then Jonathan Stewart had the touchdown. And earlier in Charlotte, I said this on the broadcast today, it was snowing in Charlotte, North Carolina, of all places. It did. It was nasty, but the sun really came out later in the game. And then Russell Wilson, first offensive series, he gets picked off by Luke Kuechly, and he takes it back the other way for the touchdown. It's 14-0. And you have to give credit, though, to Kuechly, who's been there the last few years. Greg Olsen fought Thomas Davis, his 11th year. And Thomas Davis also going to the Pro Bowl. Congratulations to him on that. He's been waiting for that for a long time. I think Roman Hartford did a good job. Kawan Short did a good job. Stephon Edwards did a good job. Ed Ditchin, Gerald Cotry. Okay. And all of Cam Newton's targets, they really stood out to me today. And Cam Newton is hands down the MVP of this NFL season. He has been playing at MVP type level. Cam Newton has dealt with injuries, correct? Remember, Kelvin Benjamin, his number 1 target, when injured in the preseason. He did not play this year. That didn't matter. Cam Newton made everybody responsible, and he did what had to be done. Also, when you think about it, Kirk Coleman, while we're on this subject, as well, former Philadelphia Eagle in that regard, and probably a lot more players come to mind as well than we have time for today. But overall, this was a crazy game. As we said, 31-0. Jonathan Stewart had 2 touchdowns. Greg Olsen made this unbelievable catch toward the end of the first half. Carolina 24-0. At halftime, the Panthers led 31-0. Seattle won 6 straight road playoff games heading in. Seattle was absolutely dominant for the first time in quite some time. Seattle got manhandled, right? And then the second half, it was a complete role reversal. Seattle got everything cranking up, and Carolina did not score a single point in the second half. Of course, Russell Wilson finding Luke Wilson, Jermaine Kearse, Doug Baldwin as well. Fred Jackson, Marshawn Lynch got in there a little bit, but his day was kind of limited. Of course, Marshawn Lynch coming back from the abdomen injury he suffered about a couple months or so ago. Seattle scored 21 points in that half. You thought the Seahawks are going to come all the way back, but they did not come all the way back. And they made it kind of interesting. There's no question about that. And I think the Panthers won that game 31-27. And that was a wild game, as all. Seattle had a major comeback, but it was not enough. as the Panthers are able to hang on. It'll host Arizona next Sunday. The Panthers, for the first time in their 21-year history, will host the NFC Championship game. This is their fourth appearance in the NFC title game. They're 1-2 in the first three. Their only win was 2003 at Philadelphia. They lost at Green Bay, at Seattle, and I think I'm forgetting something. At Seattle, and give me a moment to think about this one. And I know. At Green Bay, also at Seattle in 2005, and also they lost in 2007 or 8 or somewhere around that time as well. So, good job by the Panthers today. They deserve to win this game. They're the best football team. They had a week off to prepare. Seattle did not at any time, and I believe that Seattle still had a great year, though. Russell Wilson had a great season. You understand me right now? Having to deal with injury. Marshawn Lynch was out. Seattle was a lot better without Marshawn Lynch, matter of fact. And Russell Wilson had nothing to complain about. Him and Pete Carroll and special team coordinator Dale Vettel had a great year. Of course, Tyler Lockett, the rookie of Kansas State, he returned a kickoff return for a touchdown. He was involved a lot today. And you have to give the Seahawks defense some credit. You know, Cliff Averill, Bruce Urban, Michael Bennett, KJ Wright, Jeremy Lane, and of course there's a lot more people we're not mentioning as well. Russell Ukon, the left tackle, was injured in this game. Alvin Bailey, and also the Rumen was there too. And the Seahawks, hopefully next year they come back and are a lot better. The two-time NFC champion got knocked out. And finally, then you have Pittsburgh and Denver. And I didn't watch a lot of this game either, but when the highlights I did see, the Steelers led most of the game, but Denver came back with less than 2 minutes left. Fitzgerald, Toussaint, Court filling in for Antonio Brown. Let's begin with the injuries. Antonio Brown, of course, was knocked out by Vontaze Burfict last week. You don't know, he got fined, I should say. And he'll be fined the first 2 games of next regular season. And also DeAndre Williams, he was out. He suffered an injury in Week 17 against the Cleveland Browns. And he has not played since. And I'm sorry, let me talk about it. Fitzgerald Toussaint, less than 2 minutes left, had the ball. Pittsburgh led by 1. It was fumbled, picked it up at DeMarcus Ware. C.J. Anderson took the touchdown. Denver, hang on. Steelers had one more chance that they could have come through with 6 versus 1. And New England will face Denver. Denver wins, I think, 20-13 or something like that. And there you go. The conference championships are all set. The AFC championship games up first. The number 2 seed Patriots head to Denver, face the Broncos. Brady versus Manning, 17. I can't believe that they met so many times over the years. Of course, Manning was with the Colts for many of those meetings with Denver the last 4 seasons now, coming off the neck injury in 2011. And then you have the game at 6:30, NFC Championship game, 2 against 1. The Panthers taking on the Cardinals, first meeting since the 2009 NFC Divisional playoff. Arizona winning that one. Carson Palmer making his first appearance to the Channel game. Of course, you know what's at stake in those championship games. Of course, the winner will get given the trophies in their respective conferences, and they will represent that conference in Super Bowl 50, which is 3 weeks from today from Santa Clara. It should be a good games next Sunday, starting at 3 p.m. Eastern on Fox, and then 6:30 over on Fox. Well, that is the story from the divisional weekend. Hope you enjoyed this weekend, and we're looking forward to it, aren't we all? To the conference championship games, and then the Pro Bowl, and then Super Bowl 50, which is claimed to be the best to bet on them all. But for now, I'm Tamir Moore saying so long and good night.